All right. I think we're live. I think we've got this. All right. All right. Okay. We have Jay. We have Michael. You guys are awesome, man. You're already on it. I think I did a pretty good job of advertising for this. I think I did okay. Got the notification out there. Got it set up yesterday. We got B. Burrell. We got Roadkill Raker. We got Stanley Hammer. Wow. Going to have a really good live stream, I think. I think this is going to be really good. I got to get a couple things yet. Okay. All right. We're going to have a great live stream. I'm going to kind of recap what we went over yesterday. Well, yesterday we were talking about case head separation. We're really not going to go there. What we are going to talk about is trimming with consistency and high volume. But to get to trimming, we have to do something else. If I just show you how to, this trimmer, tell you to go buy it and life can be happy, it's not. You're going to be frustrated. So I'm going to take you back to the beginning, with the rating instant indicator, and I'm going to show you all the features that this has. All the features. When you see this, it's going to change the game. Okay? So, oh, Jay, that's Jake. Good to see you. We got Ken Thomas, Hoghead, Nick L. Hey, we got GMC. You guys are awesome. GMAC, GMC. All right.
I'm here, my boy. It's David.
And we have David Wright. I threw him the invite because this was kind of brought up by him. Now what I'm going to do, let me get my headphones on. I'll be just a moment.
Yes, sir.
Echo. You there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just
You there?
fixing a little mistake with one of these.
All right. Now you're there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm here.
That's great. All right. So we're going to have a good live stream. We're going to cover a lot of ground. I'm going to try and pace through this so nobody gets confused. Make it as self-explanatory as I can. So how you doing there, David?
I am doing some 308 Winchester.
Yeah.
And I had a little something that didn't seem right with the cartridge casing when I shook it after I put the bullet in and set the depth and everything. I shook it and I couldn't really hear the powder. So I did a little cheat where you weigh out the same cartridge case that and measure it to make sure if it's trimmed correctly. And I came up about 3 grams off. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I caught it. So I'm going back in. I would have still been in the minimum, you know, so it wouldn't have been a catastrophic event, but it would have been a little light.
You mean grains, not grams, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's okay. I knew what you were talking about. I knew.
Yeah, I get tongue twisted sometimes when
okay.
I'm thinking and talking at the same time.
Freudian slips happen. It's part of life. I've made a lot of them myself. So, all right. We have 18 on, and I think I'm going to get right to the point. So we had this live stream. It was yesterday. We had 2 live streams yesterday, but the first one yesterday, towards the end, I asked the guys, I said, hey, you want to do another live stream? They said, yeah, what's it going to be on? One of the topics it came out to be on was trimming cases, right? And so we're going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about a particular trim length. Let's make it really easy. All we know is we're going to trim cases, and we want them to be within 1/1000ths high or 1/1000ths low. When I say 1/1000ths high or 1/1000ths low, what I'm saying is, if let's call our case length 0, just 0, okay? We could be either 1/1000ths high or 1/1000ths low. So that gives us a 2,000 spread, okay? So now we're going to talk about this trim length. I can take any old case based off a trimmer. David, you want to show them the trimmer you were showing me yesterday? It's your Forester.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a Forester trimmer. Got it mounted to a little piece of wood so I could clamp to.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You keep breaking up, but I want to ask everybody, is it just David breaking up, or is it both of us?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, you'll talk, then it'll go away, then it'll come back.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. You can't help it. It's the world we live in, internet world.
Yeah.
So what he's holding and what I'm holding are trimmers that aren't to be, these are very valid, and they actually trim very precisely. With both of these trimmers, you're capable of holding it pretty doggone close to that trim length you want, okay? But these trim from the base to the mouth. Now, David, on mine, nearest the handle is where the base sits. I can't remember how the Forester is.
Basically right here, you have a collet in this piece right here, and that holds the back of the case. You started on the pilot, and you get the pilot lined up so everything's aligned, and then you just hold direct pressure back against this collet as you righty-tighty this right here. Okay. And it just squeezes the back of the case and holds it parallel and square to the front of this cutter. And as you turn it, it just basically trims it. So
basically, his is inverse of mine. The case of my Redding, it mounts closest to the handle. The base of his opposes the handle. But they trim the same based off full length of the case. Based on that, we don't have to do anything over here if we don't want. But now we're going to talk about the world's finest trimmer.
Okay.
Because this trimmer, it actually trims off of the datum line of the case, the datum line of the shoulder. Now, it's important that before we get into this, you understand the operation of this. Because some guys will say, this is inconsistent. This can be off by 10, 20, like we showed yesterday, 24 thousandths. That's a situation where you're going to want to use the kind of trimmer that David held up or I held up. And that's going to be for trash brass. Well, now wait, don't mix my words here. When I say that's going to be for trash brass, I'm saying you're going to need that kind of a trimmer for those trashy cases. But those trimmers They are precision. That's what they're designed for. That's why they can handle that. Well, that's not why they can handle it. They can handle it because it trims from the head to the mouth. But because this trims from the datum line, now we're involving headspace and consistency of headspace. Just like when we are seating a bullet based off the nose, the tip, it's much less accurate seating that way than when we seat off of the ogive. Well, trimming off the length of the case is much, you could have that variation, whereas when you're trimming off of the datum line, now you're really going to be trimming much more precise. So I'm going to step into this. Now, I do suppose that, I don't know, I don't want to say this. I don't know which one would really be a better way to go. Something like what David has and my Redding, or this. But what those can't do is high volume, and high volume with consistency, okay? So here we go. So to get to this, we have to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about this in great detail, and I'm going to inch my way through it very slowly. This is the Redding instant indicator and case comparator. Now, if some of you guys want to get this and you want to do live streams with me and be right where David's at, where I can talk you through it and have mine and we can step through it, we don't have to do all 4 functions. We can do 1 function. 1 function. I got the rest of my life. How long do you want to spend on this? We can do it. This is the Redding instant indicator and case comparator. There's 4 things we can do with this. The first one is I can measure for headspace, and I can see exactly where my cases are based off a Sammy Min 0. I'm going to show you that. The second thing I can do with this, I can seat my bullets with, I can measure my bullet seating with this based off of ogive. I'm going to show you that. They're simple. It's very simple. Each setup is simple. Then we can measure the length of the case, the trim length. I'm going to show you how to do that. Then the last thing we can do, we can compare bullets. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now at the end, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some cases, some new Starline cases, and I'm going to trim them. And I'm going to have this set up to measure the length of those cases, and you will see just what this trimmer is capable of. But at the same time, I'm going to trim some range cases, and this dial gauge right here is going to show you how sloppy they are. Okay? Now, first thing we got to understand before we get into this is I'm working with 2 different types of cases. I'm working with range cases. These are cases that have been shot wherever I got them from. I couldn't tell you. I pulled these out of a bucket. And I'm working with new cases, new Starline. What I want these to represent for you are cases that were new, that have been fire formed to your rifle, and you've maybe got a couple of firings to them to really fire form them. Okay, which doesn't neglect from if they're once fired trimming them. Okay, and because they're new, I always trim my new cases back to 1.740. Okay, so this is the readiness indicator, and I have in my little book my instructions. I'm not really going to read the instructions to you, but I'm going to tell you what each part is, and I'm going to call it out as it is and put it into the tool. Okay. Okay, so I have my instructions. This here, we all know what this is. This is your dial gauge. This is the die body. As an example, when you have a resized die, okay, resize and decap, that die has the die body. Every die has a die body and then some sort of stem that goes in. So this is a die setup, but this is the die body, okay? This here is your pressure spring. This here is your cap. Notice the cap has a threaded piece, okay? Now, even though you can't see these close up, if you get this, you're going to understand what I'm holding. I have, okay, I got these. Okay, this here is my bore diameter bushing, okay? This is my setup gauge. This is my blank contactor. And this is my adapter. On your adapter, it has a little set screw on it. When nothing is in this, tighten that set screw down. Because of the weight of that thumb screw, it tends to unthread, and you go to pick it up and it'll bounce off on the floor. Ask me how I know. Keep it snugged up and tight so you don't lose it, okay? So those are the parts. I just called them off by name. You can go back and write those down however you want. When you get it, you'll get your instructions. Now, I'm going to tell you how all of these work. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up to where we can check for head spacing, okay? I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to explain what the SAMI minimum chamber is, and then we're going to actually run the cases. The first thing you're going to do, take the die body, run all the way up to the uppermost portions of the thread. We're going to start threading it in, run your shell holder all the way up to top dead center. I'm going to thread it in until I touch the shell holder. Now, for those of you guys that have been following me over time, you know we have the reading competition shell holders. We're pulling those out of the equation. I use those. But for you to see what this does, we don't need those. I'm going to make it easy, easy peasy, okay? Once I'm touching, I'm going to drop the shell holder, and I'm going to go about an 1/8. There's a little cam over. I want a little more. I've got cam over, okay? I'm going to go ahead and tighten this lock ring down. Now, on this particular tool, you don't have to arm wrestle it tight, but snug it up tight, because we are going to be taking measurements down to the thousandths, no, to the 0. So you don't want it off adjusting anyway. We got a needle on here. We're trying to get that needle where we want it every time. Now, the next thing we need, okay, I'm going to explain this in a way that you will understand it. The next piece that we have, this is your shoulder contactor. How you know you need it is we are going to be measuring headspace. And to do that, we size our cases based off the datum line of the shoulder, and that is where that's going to contact, okay? I want to do something. Let me turn another light on. It might get a little more clear. Hang on. Okay. That's your shoulder contactor. That's going to contact the datum line of that shoulder. Now, datum line in Redding's instructions is DL. Well, that's just what datum line is, DL. So we're going to take this with the shoulder contactor face down, place it into the die body. Now listen very carefully to me. Don't mess this up. Do not run this dirty, and do not run dirty cases. Before you run your cases in here, you're going to universal decap. You're going to clean them. Now they're ready to go through here, because these are very precise little movements, and you start getting carbon buildup and other junk, and you're going to throw it off, and it will give you erroneous readings, okay? So we put that piece in. Now we need our pressure spring. There's our pressure spring. The last thing we need is our adapter. Now, we're going to take this adapter and we're going to thread it all the way in. You don't need to muscle this part on. Just get it snugged up. Snug it up. Now, this little thumb screw, loosen it, and you're going to notice something. This thumb screw has to be out far enough it will accept this. You'll say, oh, it won't go. No. Keep loosening that screw until it drops down. Now, this is free floating. Don't adjust this. Don't tighten this adapter screw. Don't do that. This setup gauge, now we're going to place onto the shell holder and we're going to gently run it up. So run it on up. I have to tell you what this is first. This is a SAMI minimum chamber. Now let me explain this. You and me are not inventing anything. We have a SAMI minimum chamber. You and I are going to call that 0. 0. We don't care about anything else. A chamber, your chamber for whatever cartridge you want to be, can be 0 plus 10 thousandths. One of my AR-15 rifles for 223 Remington is 4 thousandths above SAMI min. That would be my Odin Works. My Bushmaster is 7.5. With me? Now, I could be wrong on this, but military rifles run a lot looser. Just a lot looser. That's all I can tell you. I have no knowledge of that, okay? In a minute, you're going to see something. And remember what I just said about a lot looser. That's all I can tell you. You have to figure this out on your own if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. So, remember, I've always said SAMI minimum chamber with plus tolerances. You see, we have a SAMI minimum chamber of 0, and our plus tolerance can be as much as 10 thousandths. Incidentally, SAMI max cartridge with min tolerances, meaning the cartridge can only be so big, it won't ever be any bigger than that, and they can produce it with tolerances 10 thousandths less, or whatever that's going to be. I'm not that guy to tell you what that is. I'm just saying. So now, going back to, we have a SAMI min 0. We're going to set this to that SAMI min chamber. This is your setup gauge, okay? Now we're going to run this up, but there's something you have to do. When you're sitting there and you're running this, don't fool yourself. Do you see where that needle maxed out? No, no. Lock the press out. You put cam over. I have guys, they buy this and they're frustrated, and I say, well, you didn't lock it out. Oh, that's right. They're going to where that needle's at. You got to lock it out or you're going to start getting a deviation. Lock it out, okay? So now that we have it locked out, now it's, believe it or not, this is set to a SAMI min. We just have to set this to where we can read it. So now what I'm going to do is, this has a coarse adjustment, which is up and down and tighten here. Then your fine adjustment is going to be right here, and you can rotate that bezel on there, okay? So what I'm going to do, this is how you need to do this. You see how I got the needle up somewhere around 12 o'clock? Just get it somewhere around 12 o'clock. Don't sit there, try to get to 0. Don't do that. Just get it in the ballpark. Now, we're going to unloosen this, turn the bezel, and set that to 0. Now we have that set to 0. But hang on. You got to run this. You want to make sure that it's going to go to 0 repeatedly. If it doesn't, pull it apart and clean it up. Don't oil it. Don't do that. I use the Hornady one-shot gun cleaner and dry lube on all this. Let me get that. Okay. Spray it down, let it dry, and there will be graphite left over. There's that fine lube that Hornady puts in there. And it won't gum up, and it will protect it from rusting. So now I'm verifying that that's going to 0 at least 3 times. Remember, whenever we do something, we set it up. We want three consistent readings, okay? So now that we have this set to a SAMI minimum chamber, we're going to start out with some Starline. And I'm just going to, I don't know how many I'm going to do. I don't. Okay, so I have 5 Starline cases. Now watch. That's set to a SAMI minimum chamber. Where's our Starline set to? Just a thousandths under. Well, now why would that be? Why would a new case be a thousandths under? Well, for the same reason. Well, hang on. If I can find it. I've been moving stuff. Oh man, I don't know where it's at. Well, okay. I got too much stuff, guys. Just got to send it all to you guys, and I won't have to worry about misplacing it. Okay, I'll know who I sent it to. Your cases, theoretically, are supposed to be shy under that SAMI min. So that, what if someone has a tight chamber, a thousandths above min? It ain't gonna fit, right? So the cases slightly under. Remember, we have a SAMI min chamber with a max tolerance. We have a SAMI max chamber with a min. So the most that could be is a SAMI min with and then it can be min past that. Okay, that's how we have fit. All right. So let's run a few of these Starline. And you can do this with any old case. That's about a thousandths and a half under. The first one was about a thousandths and a half under. Thousandths and a half under. Thousandths and a half under. Now I just randomly pulled them out of that bag. I didn't. It's not like I sat and I pulled the best out of that bag. I didn't do that. Okay. Thousandths and a quarter under right there. Man, a quarter of a thousandths in between 5 cases. That's not too shabby. That's pretty doggone good. In a minute, I'm going to take those cases and I'm going to check them for length. And let's see. And we're going to do it right on this. And there's no calipers. We're going to do it right on that, and you're going to see it. So these are once fired range cases that have been resized back with my competition shell holders. Okay. That one is a thousandths and a half over a SAMI min. Well, what happened there? That's sized. Okay. Well, what happened there? Well, what happened there? Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to take these 10 cases out of the equation, because what we're doing is something you can do on your bench. This is going to help you to analyze. Okay. You can do this. put this video back on and pause it and start it, pause it and start it, and do it this way. So I have 5 Starline cases, and I have 5 once fired cases. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to think good and hard about this. If we say that this trims off the datum line, but those once fired cases have, oh my goodness, 15 thousandths, 15.5 thousandths spread, what do you think we're going to see come off this? Now, those star lines, those are all within a quarter thousandths. So when I'm trimming off this, I said we don't care what we're trimming to. Just whatever we're trimming to, they're going to come in. Now, because those cases are in within a quarter of a thousandths, this is going to make those shine. What did I say in the title? I'll prove it. Why? How could I, a day before, predict in a title that I was going to prove it? People predict, I'm going to tell you something, people. Predictions lie, but numbers never do. All I knew is what I've always worked with. When you have this and you're within a quarter of a thousandths, this ain't going to trim great because this does not change. But those are those garbage cases. Doesn't mean you can't shoot them. I've got guys so mad at me over the last 3 years when I call range cases trash. They're like, oh, you offended me. No, I'm here to tell you, don't get upset. I know you bought that with your money. You got a lot of money in it, but it's trash. Yeah, you could go play bang ammo. You can hit a pop cannon at 100 yards, but you are not going to have the shot groups you want at 600 yards for your AR-15. You're just not. That's the difference. That's what we're after ultimately. Doesn't mean you can't take those cases and prep them as close as you can for the best accuracy you can get and accept what you get. Okay, nothing wrong with that. We're not saying that. We want precision. Now, okay, I want you to process this. You got a scope in front of your face. You don't want to get hurt. Well, I've always known this. I just did a video today. Just went up on the UGE too. The more we refine our skills in precision, it is built-in safety. We know where our tolerance is at, and we know we're not going to get hurt. Okay? So now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. I'm going to show you how to set this up so we can measure case length. And we're going to trim cases, and we're going to measure every one of them right here. So the instructions on Redding says to thread this out with this dial gauge in there. I don't, because I'm Mr. Fumbly Fingers, and I don't want to drop it on the floor. So this is how I do it. I loosen that adapter screw in, and I set that dial gauge down. And now I'm going to loosen this adapter. Before you loosen this adapter, tighten that little knob. And don't do what I just did. Don't Armstrong this thing on, because then it's hard to get off. So I'm going to remove this adapter, and I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to take the pressure spring, and now I need to get the shoulder contactor out. That's where magnetic screwdriver comes in. Just pull that out, be gentle with it, don't scratch it up. And now what we're going to do, instead of this where it contacts the datum line on the shell, don't we want to just measure trim length? So now put your blank contactor in there, and you can put the pressure spring for this. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I personally don't think the pressure spring is a problem for the cases, but if you find it is, remove it. Now we're going to do something. We have that in there and it's loose, nothing's tightened down. We're going to take this new case. Now, you might want to take, let's say you have a case that you want to trim back to 1.740. Let's just say that. So take a case and scribe 1.740 that you have at 1.740 and save that as your setup case for checking trim line, okay? Place that case into there and gently go up, and what do? We don't stop there. You lock the handle up, okay? Now, I'm gonna take this up just like we did with the setup gauge, and I'm gonna set it somewhere around 0. And by the way, when you're really close to 0, if you just pivot that, just pivot the whole assembly, sometimes 0 will come right in. But don't worry about it, because if you don't get it set, you just get that fine adjustment off the bezel and we dial it in. So now we have that set at 0, just 0. That's all we need to know. So really, you don't need a setup gauge for this if you don't want. It's just something you can do. Okay. So now watch. This is going to be our Starline cases. Okay. I'm holding roughly a 6 to 7 thousandths difference off that. Okay. I want to see something. Just bear with me on this. I don't use this very often. I just use my calipers. I don't care. Just use my calipers, right? But I want to see something. Let's take Mr. Pressure Spring out. Heavy on the Mr. too. Is this making sense, David?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everything you're saying is making complete sense.
Okay. That's what I want. I don't want to confuse anyone, and I don't want to waste anyone's time. I just want to do a good job. But I do like it. I love anything to do with this kind of stuff. You guys wait till my house is paid for and I start restoring my old Ford truck. I'm not going to show you how to build the motor. I don't know how to do all that, but all the basic stuff, yeah. You know, I'll show you how to drop a wrench on your foot and all that. Okay, we have that 0 to that case. Okay. Okay, so there's 3 thousandths, 2 thousandths. Okay, it looks like the pressure spring might have had something to do with a couple thousandths there. We're about 5 thousandths difference between all those cases. So now this kind of just brings us to something here. This is a good one for you. Okay, so if I'm gonna sit here and measure these, okay, there's 4.6. 4.7, 4.8, 4.4, 4.8. I would say that's right on. I got about a 5 thousandths difference in those. The reason that this might give a broader range is because that blank contactor is contacting the entire diameter of the mouth of the case, and it's going to push off the highest point, whereas on your calipers, you're only getting a section. If you sit there and spin the case, then you'll start getting different readings. So just process that, okay? So now I'm going to say something. I want to make sure I got these right. Okay. Now, this 5,000th reading we're seeing coming off these cases. We're not always trying to pick fly crap out of pepper. So don't freak out about it, okay? Doesn't mean you can't improve on it when you trim, but don't worry about that, okay? Now, let's look at our range cases. But this doesn't tell us anything. They haven't been trimmed yet. We're just seeing that there's no consistency in these. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the world's finest trimmer into play. When we're all done, I'll show you the other two setups on this. So we got a huge spread on this, a huge spread. So now what I'm going to do, I don't want to lose any of this on the ground. I'm going to bring the world's finest trimmer into play. Okay. To make this really work, you have to kind of spin it. Remember something. This blank contactor, when it comes up, is touching the full diameter. So when you come into this, because that's square, you want to roll it, okay? Now, okay, just watch. Now, okay, this is set to where, like we put a perfect case in there, it has fit. But when we put the range cases that have been resized, they're a little, because I kind of saw what Sergeant Sandman put. Said I was right. Some of these have been through some pretty big chambers, right? Took a lot off of that one, and I'm spinning. I have some guys say, "Oh, well, I like that because it's messy." I didn't get into reloading because I want it clean. Okay. Some guys say, "Well, I don't like my truck because it rides rough." Well, I didn't buy a truck to have it ride like a sports car. Okay. Some of those didn't even trim, but they were certainly excessive. Why? Because the shoulders are all different from these different firearms they've been through. Now let's do the Starline. Now I am going to mention numbers. I trim my AR-15, my 223. Reason I normally you would have to say AR-15 if it's a bolt action or whatever, but the AR-15 is so violent. If I go too far back on that neck, I'm not going to have adequate neck tension to hold that bullet. So Sammy Spec says I can trim back to 1.730. No, I go back 1.740. These are somewhere like we saw, well, I saw 1.744 to 1.748 and a half. That was almost a 5,000 spread. So I can pull these back about 8,000. By the way, I love this big DeWalt battery. And I really haven't done a lot of cases with this. I was doing thousands of them with my Bosch. I wished I would have had this big DeWalt. The trimming I've done, I haven't killed the battery yet. Now, every one of those, I can feel it trimmed. Now, how quality is your drill? You got a lot of play in your drill, that's going to throw that off. This is only as square as this. Okay. So now, all right. Let's run the Starline first. And I'm going to zero this to that case. Now we're re-zeroing. Zero. Zero, baby. I said, we're not, you don't always have to pick fly crap out of pepper, but it's nice when you can. Zero, baby. I'm proving it, dude. I'm proving it. 3,000 is high. 3,000 is high. Well, hi boy didn't put one in there, but see. Now wait. Now wait. Let's have an argument that we're going to win. So someone tells you, well, I had a case that was 3,000 soft. Go back and trim it or check your headspace. Now, are you ready to prove that argument? Here's our once-fired cases. You saw headspace all over the place. Okay, folks, watch this. That's trimmed. So when some guy tells you world's finest trimmer really sucks, well, you know a guy that has really bad head spacing consistencies, doesn't he? If someone says, you know, I'm all over the place with my trim length, well, maybe you got to go back to the drawing boards and learn head spacing. So now I have a question. It's the golden question. It's the golden question. How can a trimmer that trims? Okay, David, I'm going to let you answer this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
How can we take a trimmer that trims from the head to the mouth and doesn't take the datum line of the shoulder into consideration? How can it tell you that your head spacing is off?
It can't.
But
I don't believe.
Yeah. But you can see where the world's finest trimmer would let you know that, right?
Well, yeah, because it's taking it off the data line of the shoulder. And if the shoulder is catawampus and messed up and not far enough back, or you may have a swollen case that's been in a chamber that is mil spec and kind of big or close to its being worn out. And then you go and try to trim that brass with the world's finest trimmer, and it's going to give you an irregularity cut because it's measuring off of an invalid. It would be like a police officer using a radar gun that isn't calibrated. Who cares what it says? It's not correct.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. The range cases or cases that aren't resized back consistently and properly, they're going to be all over the place. Well, they're not calibrated. And there's another thing. You could take cases that are all the same head stamps, shot through all your rifle, and they've been shot through the same amount of times. Well, but think about it. If you are adjusting your resize die to where you have minimal cam over, but you have plain the linkage, well, that's going to give inconsistent reading. That's where the competition shell holders come in. We got to lock that out every time. If you don't have full lockout, that's going to mess you up. Some guys, when they're resizing their dies, they back that resize die off just so they bump it back. They turn that die down by the 16ths of a turn, 1,000ths at a time to size that back. When you guess what? If you have any play in between that die and that handle, that's going to buy you problems with different cases. So if you were to put a competition shell holder in there to where that shell holder is relieved, if you instead of relieving the die, you're relieving the shell holder, well, you still have lockout, the top shell holder from the base to the top is a 1/2 inch, okay? From the base to where the shell rides is 0.125, I think. Hang on, we got to make sure I'm right on this. Because you know me, I don't know how to load.
Huh.
Yeah, 0.125. 0.125, okay. Well, all Redding does is they decrease that. So now, instead of backing the die down, they've given you more space on that competition shell holder, so you're not sizing back as far. So what does that mean? That means you're fully locking out every time. There's no slack, and every case comes out perfect. So if you don't do that part of it right, that it'll still mess up on the world's finest trimmer. Now, what you can do is you can run these through a trimmer just like what David and I have, and that will work for you. It is what it is, right? So there we go. Now, before I explain anything else on this setup, I just want to find out the questions, see. Okay, instead of me going back and kind of going through the questions, if you got a question, throw it out there and I'll answer them as you go. And it has to be pertaining to this subject, not a rabbit trail. I want to stay focused on the topic. Meanwhile, David, do you got anything you want to throw in while I'm waiting for questions?
Well, it just seems like you're dealing with variables and you've got to get your variables under control. Like I've noticed with my Lee shell holders that some cartridge casings fit rather snug in them. Others are really sloppy. So I've got on my list of things to purchase some Redding shell holders that have a flat base on them, which you were describing a few live streams ago. How the competition cuts that notch out of the bottom so that if you get a primer that is proud, you could still get the casing out of the holder. Well, when you're talking precision, every thousandth makes a difference. So you need to be aware of how much play you have in your system, and every press is a little different, even ones made by the same company.
Yeah, I agree with that. B. Burrell says, do you have another headspace gauge? I have the Ellie Wilson. But I don't really use this in the manner of a headspace gauge. I use this as a chamber verification for end product. And maybe I want to check the case before I use it real quick. Let me tell the viewers how I do this. So I do this. When I'm sizing my cases, I have my resized die set up here. I size it and I verify it. Okay, hang on. All these cases that are bad, how do you deal with that? I have a way. It's kind of like this. When you're comparing bullets and you put them in batches, right? So what I do is I size it. I'm going to kill that wasp. And I verify it. If I can get these cases to be within 3 or 4 thousandths, the majority of them, or a good majority of them, they go into a pile. The others I segregate out in 4 thousandths increments, okay? So I can still use these, but what I do is when I'm trimming them in batches, then those go into batches for seeding. Now, okay, I want you to understand something. Beginning of this video, I said cases that have been fired a couple times, I've kind of seen where more I fire for them these, the more consistent they come back. Not all of them. and they kind of got me to the same AR-15 because I shoot so many AR-15s. I can't be up. I don't know what the percentage of success is, but it's a higher rate. Okay, and I know I'm kind of straying off of this question. So anyway, what I do is I size all my cases and I verify them, but then I use this case, and that's why I don't really call it a headspace gauge. You can use it that way, but I just verify it for chamber fit. Let's say I'm on my Dillon, pulling the handle, and one goes in hard. I watch that one and get it out. I might have had different neck tension, and it might have squashed that case, and I check it right then. Oh, no, I'm good. Wasn't that? That's my quality control. That's really where I'm at with this. You can take before and after measurements off of this, but I don't need to do that. That's so time consuming. And I got to hold everything just right. This, it's in the box, right? Okay, so he's saying, I'm talking about one you can't insert into the reading instant indicator. No, this is all I use. This L.E. Wilson headspace gauge, and that's really all I have. I just like this. Okay, WoodenGunworks.com shoulder bump gauge. Check it out. They work great. I'm sorry, I have to go. Hey, Andy, have a good one, buddy. Oh, I see. He's okay. He's saying that okay. I think you're one of the guys I talked to about this. He's saying his gauge is off. Well, one thing you could do, take this to a gunsmith. I think they could tell you. I'm going to say this lightly. In a way, it doesn't matter. You're just setting a standard for where you're at. That's all you're doing. But I don't know if mine's off or on. I really couldn't tell you. I just use this as my standard. That's what I do. I mean, mine could be 2000s high or 2000s low, whatever. So I don't know. I really don't. I can't answer how to know if this is on. That is one thing. Equipment can be off. Thousands or two. It's manufacturing process, right? Oh, hey, we got Juanito from Argentina. It says interesting subject. Thank you very much. All right, so let's show you the other two things you can do with that. So far, we have looked at where our cases are set to based off of a Sammy Min. Where's our head spacing? And that is head spacing. Okay, head spacing, right? And then we just checked case trim length. So with this instant indicator, so far, verify head spacing and verify case trim length. But now, the other thing, the next one we can do is we can, it's a bullet comparator, okay? Just like, I don't want to lose my parts here. Just like on these cases here, I just said I can be checking them for head spacing on the once fired cases, even brand new cases. If you want to take all the cases that are to 0, and those are in your precision pile, and your other ones are trigger time, you can do that. Okay. Well, we now have the tooling that I don't need to take that off. We now have the tooling to where we can compare bullets, okay? So, first off, Okay. I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to go kind of backwards. So you get this. To check cartridge case length based off ogive. You remember a couple weeks ago or a week ago we were talking about seating based off ogive? Well, this piece here, I forget what it's called, bore diameter. Bore diameter bushing. I was close. This is essentially set to your bore diameter. That's what that is. It's your bore diameter, okay? Think about it. If that's your bore diameter, if we had something flat on that bullet and we applied that to our dial gauge, well, we take this and we take this piece here and thread the cap, place that into there, screw that on. And I haven't really done much of this, so I can only go into so much detail. But hang on, let me. Oh, I just found what I was looking for, my factory ammo. I do buy the factory ammo in the bulk. It's so cheap. It's like you get to shoot it and the cases are free, you know. So now, once again, we take one of these cases, we zero that. So let's say these are your reloads. For one thing, you can verify how consistent you are. There's your factory for you. Okay. Now, based off that factory, you get to beat that, right? You're going to run a precision bullet. So to beat this is why I did this backwards. Where's this start? At comparing your bullets. How did we get our cases to come out? We saw that these cases here that were range cases, they were all over the place with head spacing, which meant they came out all over the place with trim length. Starline was tight, man. That's beautiful. I mean, that's a reloader's dream, right? Well, we can do the same thing with our bullets. Okay. So I'm going to put these back. Now I'm just going to tear this down. Get your magnetic screwdriver tip and blank contactor. Now listen very carefully. No, 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 no. When I'm looking at bullet for ogive length in my cases and I'm comparing my bullets, I don't put this in. Why? Well, think about it. If I have that in there and I run a bullet up into there, you're gonna see the indentation on the jacket. Don't put that in. It does you no good to compare your bullets if you're ruining them. So and the instructions tell you you can leave it in or take it out, whatever you want. I just find you don't have to have it. Okay? If you find you have to have it, then I would say use it. But I haven't found that I have to have it. Okay. So now we take some bullets. Okay. These aren't projectiles. Guys go, I want a box of projectiles. It's okay if you just have fun with it. It's not a projectile until it's in motion. That is a projectile. You call it how you want, but I'm just saying. So now we take the bullet and cradle it into our, you see where this is going? And we got that blank contactor in there for the base of that bullet, and we don't have a spring on there. So we're not going to be compressing the bullet any deeper into that. And so now you get the bullet in there pretty concentric to your gauge. Okay. And your first one, okay, that's not going to be a good one. I can tell you this already. There's a little line on that. I had this knob tightened down, so when I went up there, it kind of pushed on the bullet. You have to finesse it. I don't care about this. This is just my bang bang stuff back here. You want to finesse these. I mean, you're being ever so gentle. Okay, you guys got to be gentlemen when you're doing this. The rest of the time, you can be a bunch of animals. It's okay. So, okay, I got it in there really concentric to the case. Lock it out. I'm going to re-zero this. You see how I walk it? When you walk it, instead of going straight up and down, just walk it. Okay, just walk it on up. Now I'm close. Oop, wrong knob. Okay, tighten that one. Loosen that one. So now, you can segregate them out by the thousandths. You can go low, high, medium. Am I not doing here what I described with range cases? You can put a pile of ones that are closer to the standing min. If I'm 3 or 4 thousandths off, I don't care. And the ones that are lower in their pile, the ones that are higher in their pile. And you can break them down even further than that. This is just bang bang ammo. I don't really care. Okay. So on average, now watch this. Yeah, I was right. I just ran that through a second time and got the same rating. There's another one high. I just got this off of Brownells, just cheap bullets. That's all they are. And this is going to help us to kind of bring this to a little bit of closure. So I'm going to make a comment that I heard or I saw one of my viewers make, and it's been a few years ago. And one thing I don't like to see people do is make a comment when they're kind of making it knowing they were going to knock the company to begin with. It's like they're just looking for something. But some people really don't understand. Okay. So, okay, I'm processing two ways. I want to relook at this one because I'm speculating. Yeah. I had this is average, this is high, and that one was way low. When you're running this, and I messed around with this, when you see one that's way off, hit it again and reline it up. I'm just giving you an example of how this works. When you're really working on this, really line it up. That's why you don't want the springs. You have to do it a few times so you won't hurt the jacket or the bullet. And in all reality, if I did all of these a couple times, they will probably be closer. You kind of got to sit there. You know, it's kind of like when I say you do 3 measurements. One's not really going to get you there too consistently. You want the best of 3, and you put it in that pile. But anyway, this guy, the comment he made, he was just kind of on a little bit of a witch hunt. He did it based off something he totally naive about. He said, well, technically these bullet manufacturers rip you off because 158 grain really isn't 158 grains. He says just like 4 grains shy, it's kind of a rip off. I'm thinking, do you understand that if a company said, okay, we're going to make these 158.00 grains, then they got to pay someone to sit there and do this with every bullet and put them in the right bins and not mess up once, not be like, oh, put it in the wrong bin, right? Right? This doesn't make sense. You'd be paying $200 a box, and then all the ones that didn't make that, they'd either be put into other boxes that didn't of a different spec, or they'd be seconds, right? And for seconds, those would be expensive. That's why when you buy a box of bullet that's 158 grains, it doesn't say 158.00. It just says 158 grains. Because it's an average of what that mold came out based off the mold of that bullet, based off everything about it. And now I think what the viewers are learning, there's 3 things I'll bring up that all have to do with the shape and how everything plays into this. The shoulder on a case, it's just not talking to you this way, but it's talking to you this way. The mouth of your case, when we measure it, we measure it with a pair of calipers like this, and we say, well, that's good. But that mouth isn't making full contact with that tool. This it is. So that's another surface area that we don't always get that full contact with, right? And then the last would be that ogive of the bullet, or the land bearing surface of the bullet where you make contact. Once again, we're just not dealing with this, the ogive. We're dealing with the whole circumference. And because of those 3 things, nothing is ever identical to any cartridge in the world. I'll guarantee you right now, I'll guarantee you, there has never been 2 bullets manufactured that were exactly the same. You might say, oh, they were all 100 and, you know, they were all 55.0 grains. Yeah, but carry that out to the point 0.00000 and magnify that 200 times to begin turning it at the different, see, nothing's the same, and we're learning that. What we're doing is we're better matching things, so we come in closer on our trim. So we're coming in closer on matching our bullets. But for the AR-15, what are we trying to do? We're trying to hold a little volume. You don't believe me? If you don't believe me, then what if I tell you, well, here for your AR-15, why don't you just trim these all by your hand trimmer? All of a sudden you're going, that sucks. Yeah. Just run them out in your case comparator and put them in different piles, load them up separately, and go have fun. is trash. Have fun with it. Collect them up, run them back through, verify lengths, verify chamber fit, load them back up, shoot their life up. That's what I say. Their Starline, those new once-fired cases, oh, keep those matched to your rifle. That's gold. Gold in the bag, okay? So that's pretty much what I had for my live stream. And after yesterday's live stream, I had one guy in particular who had a lot of questions, and I said, hey, let's do it. And so I put the notification out for today's live stream. So looks like we lost Tony. Tony, okay, have a good one, buddy. So is there any questions based off what I just talked about that I can answer? I don't want anyone to be gray on the matter. By the way, I have this set up for 223 Remington and 30-06, and I have 2 of these. Now, I'm not going to buy a dial gauge for every one I get, but I bought the dial gauge with each one in case I drop one. I got another one. I'm just kind of that mentality. Whenever I reload, I do not like to be in a position where I can't keep reloading. When I was poor in my young days, that would happen to be like, oh man, I had to wait till payday. That was so bad, right? Break something or lose something. So now, older in life, I'll buy a secondary of something if I know it's something that can break, you know, and I make sure I don't lose stuff. You don't want to lose your stuff. Try very hard not to lose your reloading equipment because it's something that you work for. But if you have to buy it again, you could have bought a box of bullets or maybe 2 boxes of bullets. Or you could have bought a nice jug of powder. It's really important. Unless you make a lot of money and you can afford to, you know, just buy all you want. I guess that's, but even if I was very rich, I would still take very good care of my stuff and appreciate it. So I don't see any questions, but we can answer them. We can answer them. This is what I enjoy doing. Now I'm going to tell you guys what I'm putting together in the works, and I really honestly don't see a lot happening until after the first of the year. So I built my wife's AR-15. Got a precision barrel, super precise trigger. Man, that thing, it's high zoot. And now I've got my optics on it, and pretty quick here, I'm going to be doing, you're going to see some live streaming coming out, mounting scopes. Now, where would I be going into this? I'm going to do a really, really good job of mounting scopes, because I've never been that guy. I'm not going to tell you guys, oh, you know, I'm a hunter. Now, I got a rifle with a scope. I'm going to tell you how to mount a scope. Wrong. I want to do a really good job. I'm going to get a scope mount on here that you are not going to believe. And I'm going to get
I've got some tricks on AR-15s mounting scopes on them.
Yeah.
That I've learned over the years of building them. And the easiest, most complicit way to do it that I've seen is to use a vise and a barrel pad jaw.
Okay.
And put your upper receiver in the vise and put a level on the top of the receiver. Okay. Get your upper receiver leveled left to right access.
I agree.
To where you're okay.
Yeah.
That gives you a totally balanced, flattened out area that's level to go ahead and mount your rings or your mounting optic. If you have a cantilever scope mount that pushes the scope forward depending on the size and power of the magnification. But that has come up to where I take the caps off of my my elevation turret. and I'll put the level back on there once I get the upper receiver's top Picatinny rail balance or level.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go ahead and balance that scope in the mounts. And basically, you tighten it up with your offset pattern, use an inch-pound torque wrench, and you're squared away with a little bit of 242 blue Loctite.
Okay. I totally agree with all that. And I got to tell you something. That's how I mounted my scope. You know, a couple weeks ago, I got it all mounted up. And I'll tell you why I didn't mount it. I had the scope since last Christmas. And when I went to Cabela's, I qualified for a free scope mount. When I got it, it's made in China. Can I ask you a question? How do you have a channel, a gun channel, and say, guys, hey, let's mount a scope with this thing from China? It's just like, gosh, you know. But finally, I broke down and I mounted. I did it just the way you did. But one thing I have is I have this scope mounting kit by the scope mounting kit by Wheeler Engineering, and I have this sight light, right? So what I'm going to do is I have a company who's interested. They manufacture scope mounts. I asked them if they'd like to be on a live stream. I think it just might happen. And I would have a professional, and he would walk me through it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get Greg Morrill on here, because he's a gunsmith, and this was all started by Greg and me. Him and me are going to mount a scope. And then I would love to do one with you. I would take you first, but this is something that's been in the workings. But I thought, you know, okay, by the time I do this, I'll have 3 shots at it, and and I know I can do it. I do. But I think if you're going to do a video on it, you ought to do it in as much correctness as you can. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And try to teach somebody, you know, from something other than just recording a video of yourself mounting a scope.
Yeah, right. And what's neat is if I can get a professional on here, then that's when he can sit there and answer questions that come up, and he'll be able to do a better job than me. But because we're mounting things together, we have a mutual understanding of what's going on, and so that's what I've got going. So now where I'm going with this is we have like 10 weeks till Christmas, and then we're going into the new year. Well, come this new year, I want to start taking my wife's AR-15, and I want to start working with several bullets. I want to work with the Starline cases, and I want to start working my loads up to go out with the tightest shot groups at 600 yards. And I'm going to put it on video, and there will be a lot of live streams. There'll be live streams. I'll report what my loads are, what I did for that week or over that last 2 weeks. This is what the cases are. This is what I trimmed them back to. This is the powder I used. This is how I compared my bullets. This was my chamber length. This is what, you know, I'm either touching the lands or I'm not touching the lands. My cases are sized back X amount of thousandths. Every bit of that is going to be documented in the videos, and it could take me a whole year to get the best shot groups, but that's kind of where I'm going. And so I have this instant indicator that I showed today for 223 Remington, and that's what I'm going to be working with that on. Now I'm hoping that in a year I'm stepping into a 1,000-yard rifle. So this what I'm going to start here, that's going to be my beginnings of long range. And when I get done with the tightest shot group at 600 yards, I'm going to step up into a bigger rifle, and I'm going to live stream it. And I hope all you guys are just not watching, but you're getting involved and you're loading for the long range. I told my viewers like a long time ago when I brought Dylan on that I really wanted precision. And the 2 things I wanted on my channel was big bore revolvers and long range rifles. And God willing, I am going to do it. So if that gives anyone an idea of what my plans are, that's it. Yeah.
I was able to pick up a book that you may be interested in for your little trip down Long Range Lane. I was able to find Lyman. Here, I'm going to show you guys.
Just so you know, we can't see you.
I know.
Oh, now we can.
Hold on, give me a sec. All right. This book, can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Lyman has had this out for a little bit now, and it is Lyman Long Range Precision Rifle Reloading Handbook.
Wow.
And it's not a big book. It's probably 100, 150 pages, but they cover almost everything you've been talking about this week and then some.
Wow, very good. I might just have to pick that up and add that to my library.
Yeah, it's reasonable too. I think I paid $15 for it off of one of the Amazons or something like that, or one of the bookstores.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to put a link up of a video that I made today. It's like, how long is it? Oh, where is it? I don't even know where it's at. Hang on. Oh, I know where it's at. I got to make it live for everyone to see. It's still private. I made a video of my mother-in-law today, and it was she thought it was really funny. I said, do you want to make a funny video joking people? She's like, yeah. She's like 87, right? She's all laughing. And it's not so much funny, except just the fact that she thought it was funny. I'm going to make it live. But in the background above her is my library, and I've got rid of a lot of my books. I got rid of some loading books. But it's not coming up. Dang it. Yeah, I'm going to have to get that book. I think that'll be a great book.
So did you guys have a good time this weekend cooking?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. My
How
grandma,
was the food?
my mother-in-law, she could not believe how the fried mush tasted. She could not. You've had it, right?
Yes, I've had it.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, I'll tell you guys how I cooked it. But first, I'm going to share the link of this video I made with my mother-in-law. And this is the gist of the video. Today her thing today, she gets to do her Christmas cards. And so we're doing that early. So we brought her into our office. We got her set up on her own little desk where she could be with us. We got her positioned to where we can all kind of see each other. She's just part of us. And so I said, Mom, before you do that, let's do a funny video. Let's pretend that you're wanting to play with my truck. And she was just giggling. So this is the video. And I mean, anyone knows that it's staged, but it made her day. There you go. But behind her, that's my my book library, and I got rid of I've got rid of a lot of books, but there's a lot I want, and so I think I'll buy that one. Greg Morrow, he's got a lot of books. There's some that he's got that I don't have, and I want to get them. So what I made was I took this cornmeal, and last night I mixed it into you get the water boiling, 3.5 cups of water. You put the salt in the 1.25 cups of meal. Well, I didn't use that. I just put in about how much water I wanted, and I just began mixing it to the consistency I wanted it. And I let it cook for a good 5 minutes. After it starts bubbling, you turn it down, and you put a lid on it for 5 minutes, and you stir it every couple minutes, I guess. I probably went longer than 5, I suppose. Then what you want to do is take some cooking spray and spray a pan and pour it about you know, an inch to an inch and a half deep into that pan. And then you wrap it with saran wrap and you let it sit overnight, put it in the refrigerator. So now when you pull that out, it's set up firm. And you take your knife and you slice it and however thick you want it. And about a half to 3/4 is just, an inch is really good too. And you take it and you cut it into strips and then cut those strips in half to where you have them about yay long, yay wide, and about an inch to an inch and a half thick. And you and then you put it in a pan with butter so they don't stick. And now this is what I do. You want to get butter on them, but if you try and smear it with a knife, they'll break apart. So you melt a little butter and you brush it on, and then you flip it and brush it on again, and then you just cook those till they're brown and put salt on those. They are so good. And we had bacon and eggs with those, and she couldn't believe how good they were. So that's what we had.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So we have, how many do we have on? We have 20 watching. Okay, so I want to ask the viewer something. Oh, Alan says he just bought that book. That's great. I'm gonna buy that. Hey, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a link to it. Okay, Lyman is the author, right?
Yes.
What's the title? Is there an ISBN on it?
It's Lyman Long Range Precision Rifle Reloading Handbook.
Okay. Come on. Lyman Long Range Precision Reloading Handbook.
Yeah. And it came, and it's, I think I got it at Amazon. I think that's where I picked it up at.
So it must be really new, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty new. Let's see when the copyright is.
I'm here, guys. I'm my computer's going slow because I'm streaming and my wife's doing something. So
See if they got a copyright date on it. We'll see it.
I'm going to put a link so you can find it. Okay.
Okay.
I got it. I got it.
Oh, you did.
I don't want. Okay. I don't want no one to get mad at me. Okay. Don't get mad at me. Do what you want. This is an affiliate. When I pulled Amazon up, first I went to abebooks.com because abebooks.com, okay, if you want, let me give you this link too. This is where I went first. If you're looking for a lot of older books, go here. It's like, you know, you can find stuff on eBay, but man, there's so much on AbeBooks. So that's where I went first. It didn't come up. And so it must be new. So I went to to Amazon and I shared that link. If someone orders that through Amazon, we get a percentage. It's not much. I got to tell you guys this. I had someone, they're not happy that we talk about our affiliate links. And me and David were talking about this. People think we make a lot of money. I made 71 whole cents last month. So, you know what? If you want that book, you click on the link and buy it, great. And if you don't, you know, I'm just letting you know it's an affiliate, because some people get offended if I don't, you know. So have you read it yet?
Yeah. Plus, what a better way to support the channel than to buy a book from a conglomerate such as Amazon that is anti-gun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I love it.
Can you guys at least give me credit for something?
Yeah.
I could have went and got the Amazon link, but I went to 8 books first. I mean, I was willing to like give you a link that wasn't gonna put money in my pocket, but it wasn't there. So, you know, there's Amazon. You know, I hate that whole anti-gun thing. I kind of upset. I kind of ruffled the guy's feather last week. You know, he's upset that, you know, I'm not on YouTube. Well, I am all my old stuff, but he's upset that my new stuff's going over on the Utah Gun Exchange. And the reason he's upset is he doesn't want to have to make another account. So because he doesn't want to make another account, he wants to support an anti-gun. I told him once Utah Gun Exchange starts live streaming, my live streams won't be on YouTube. Anything gun related won't. Just I don't want to support the anti-gunners at all. That's me. I'm sorry, I don't do Dick's Sporting Goods. I just don't.
Yeah, we didn't even have a Dick's Sporting Goods near our house, and then I heard we were getting a new sporting goods store, and lo and behold, I went over and they actually replaced Sears. Then I was kind of surprised because, you know, Sears tools and all that. And I guess Sears is more online now, and they're starting to close down their brick and mortar shops, which is kind of crappy because people need jobs and they employ a lot of people. Sears Roebuck does.
Yeah.
If they still call them that. I mean, I remember the catalogs, probably so do you, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
When you could order a firearm right to your house.
The good old days, yeah. Mailman would just give it to you. Of course, I was a kid, I don't remember it, but I can only imagine. Hey guys, Sergeant Sandman just talked about my Avant link, and I'm just gonna throw my Avant link on there. Okay, let me tell you how this works. I gotta, for the Brownells, I gotta make it here. On Amazon's a little different. Just so you know, whenever you see the word bit.ly in a link, someone placed that, and it's kind of like money in their pocket. But here's a link. See that says bit.ly? That just says that if you click on that, anything you buy there, we would get a percentage of. I gotta tell you guys this. I was thinking about ordering a piece of equipment for my channel today. I was sitting there, it's 5 o'clock this morning having coffee. 5 o'clock Saturday morning looking at this piece of equipment. And I was gonna bring it on my channel because I have a high request for it, right? So I did price shop Midway and Brownells. Midway says free shipping on over $49. But what I bought was a sale item, and that didn't count. Brownells was a $10 difference. So I started looking at different products. Brownells, if they don't beat Midway, it isn't by much. And most of the time, item for item, Brownells beats Midway, and Brownells has better sales. Now, I don't know if Brownells still offers free shipping on sale. Does anyone know if you buy a sell item at Brownells for over like $100, whatever their thing is, do you still pay shipping?
If they have a free coupon and they have them almost every month, where they have them on their main page where you can look on there and you'll see a 3-digit code. And when you're checking out, you enter that code and you get free shipping. If you buy a sell item, you get free shipping. It doesn't matter as long as you meet the requirements and you spend over the amount of money that they ask you to spend, and they'll throw in the shipping. Doesn't matter if it's on sale. And I'll tell you something else that's different between Midway and Brownells. You ever call Midway and you're a new guy like me to reloading and you're looking for something, you don't know the technical name for it? You can go to the gun assistant guys that are gun techs in the back of Brunel's at their other building and talk to them. They will find out for you that information. And that's only if the girl on the phone can't look it up. She'll send you back to the gun techs and they'll answer the question for you. Midway has no service like that. If you don't know what you're looking for or how it works or need a little bit of instruction, you're on your own with Midway. You're not with Brownells.
That's
Plus they insure everything you buy, even the punches I have. If I break one, I could send it back and they'll replace it. No questions asked. Yes, for my life and my son's, for the entire thing. They've been in business for over 79 years.
What about a Forester screwdriver?
Yes.
Really?
If you bought something from them in your lifetime, your father's or maybe your grandfather's, and it fails, send it back. They'll either replace it if they still make it, or they'll give you a money credit towards buying a different product to replace it.
I broke this Forester gunsmithing screwdriver. These aren't cheap. What gunsmithing screwdrivers are is like a typical automotive screwdriver, everyday screwdriver. When you're turning them, it has flex in the tip. Well, you don't want that with firearms because it can, well, you see what it does to a straight head screwdriver. So these, Power Hunter, hey, have a good weekend, buddy, be safe. Gunsmithing screwdrivers are a harder steel, so they don't bend, but they break. And I broke this one, and I wasn't really putting a lot on it. It just snapped. I was going to order another one, but I didn't.
Yeah, they're designed to break before you tear up the screw.
That's right.
They're hollow ground.
Yeah, that's right.
And basically, mechanic screwdrivers are of a harder steel, but what they'll do is they will flex before they snap. Yeah. And what that does is that'll mar the bolt or the screw that you're trying to get out or tighten up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why they make them like that. They're designed to break before you damage your firearm. That costs a lot more than that screwdriver.
Yeah, right. You know what? I'll probably just buy one. It lasted a long time, and I like Brunells, and I would rather support them than work against them, you know. I was going to say something. Don't remember what it was. What was it? Oh, here's a interesting topic. We have, see how many we have on. When all of a sudden people start dropping off, that means it's boring. Well, we have 22, so that's pretty good. And I think this is good information. So, I had a guy asking me about bullets, and I recommended Oregon Trail. And he said, "But you know, I'm looking for like the best buy." And so he was on Midway. I mean Brownells, and he was looking at a hard cast bullet. I don't want to say what company. I don't feel that's fair. But you have to understand something. I'm not affiliated with Oregon Trail Bullet Company. And they're a neat little company, but I just get online and order. I mean, I suppose some people think I'm in their back pocket and all this. And I suppose if I called them, they will probably send me some bullets, I suppose, but I don't. I just don't. They're just neat people, a little company. And for Christmas, you know, I told my wife, I said I'd like maybe a couple of boxes of bullets for my 45 auto, so like 200 grain bullets, you know. And so, but if I don't get them, I'm fine. I mean, I don't cry if I don't get stuff. But so you know that if I tell someone, you know, that deal on Brownells is a better deal, I get a percentage of that. But I'm an honest guy. I want you to think about this. When you go and you're looking at a hard cast bullet, and they sell them 200 per box, gee, you could probably go find the company I'm talking about. It's a hard cast bullet, 200 per box, and they are $37 a box. Double that would be, well, what's that? 34, 84, 85, 50 a box for two. Well, let's see. Oregon Trail is $67, and that's for 500. So you're already paying more for 400 bullets. You get another 100 more to this company on Brownells, you're paying $99 for 500 bullets. Oregon Trail 67. So what's the moral of the story? Okay, here you go. A box of $200 bullets that's cheaper than a box of $500 bullets might look like the good deal, but it's kind of a switcheroo. What you got to do is go price per bullet. Price per bullet. You get your calculator out, and you're going to take the price of the box of bullets divided by that number of bullets, and that gives you the price. That's how I buy my bullets. Actually, how I buy my bullets is I just order Oregon Trail because they're really good bullets. And so, oh, and I'll tell you something else. So last week, I sat on my computer one day. No, it was this week because I had vacation time. And I started just looking for hard cast bullet companies. This is interesting. I've never really done that. So I'm looking at all these companies anywhere that manufacture hard cast bullets. Most of them are more expensive than Oregon Trail, and they don't have load data. They tell you where to go to find that load data, like some other publication. And Oregon Trail has their own reloading data manual, and it's free online. And if you got a question and you say, well, I don't know what velocities to load your bullet, they will tell you. They won't say, well, we refer you go to someone else's manual. No, we have our own manual. Oh, and another thing, if you don't have a computer and you don't have their load data manual, then he'll just kind of tell you where you can find that. Their Oregon Trail is a very helpful, very reasonable, great product, and they're resourceful. So you got to check Oregon Trail out. I really would. Yeah.
Do they offer the powder coated bullets as well?
No, they don't need to. They got silver in them. The silver helps harden them up to a third. It's the real silver bullet. They put silver in their bullets, and they're still cheaper. I called the owner. We were laughing about a year ago. I said, "Oh my gosh, you know, you put silver in there, and they're still. He's the only bullet that will really kill a werewolf, and it's cheaper than what you can buy. It's a 31 Brinell hardness, and you really, I suppose you could lead your barrel, but I never do. Oh, another thing. Here's another thing. This blew me away. I'm on other websites that make hard cast bullets, and there's a big disclaimer. Don't shoot faster burning powders in our bullets because you'll get leading. And they have coated bullets, powder coated bullets.
What?
Yeah, I could not make that up. I
The
couldn't. No.
reason that you powder coat a bullet is so that you can push it harder.
They said, don't we recommend you don't use the first 15 powder on the first 15 powders on the burn rate chart. If you called Oregon Trail, they'd say you burn whatever you is on that recipe, and our bullets will take it. That's what they'll tell you. Oregon,
Awesome.
yeah, I got to do a video just on that, so it's in the title, so people that want to know that they can find that information.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of information on the actual like when I was looking for cast bullets because I didn't want to pay $1 a round for 458. So I knew cast bullets. I used to shoot them back in the 80s when I did NRA matches and Ipsing. And so I was like, well, I just need to get me some cast bullets and some of the lubricant and start doing the lead. And I even have a friend who's got 2,000 lead ingots, the little Lyman ingots that he's got. So I was thinking, I'll start casting bullets. And I was like looking for cast bullets, and the internet wasn't around back when I was doing it before. Now you type in cast lead bullets and you get so much stuff. It's almost like somebody dropped a refrigerator full of food in the back of your bass boat. It just sinks. You're looking and you're like, well, who do I choose? And who actually is making this stuff? And there's not a whole lot of information. And I didn't find any load data. So I'm interested in this Oregon Bullet Company because if they're offering load data.
Let's do this. I'm kind of thinking. I don't like to do a live stream Sundays because we got guys in church, and I don't want to take away from that. We do church in our house Sunday mornings, and tomorrow's going to be a busy day. You want to do a live stream one night this week talking about this topic? And I think this is what I'll do to the viewers. If you want, I'll put a challenge out. I'm going to get I'll get online. I'll get my computer up. And I'm going to take 3 bullets back here, 3 boxes of bullets, and I'm going to put pricing out there. So I'll put my pricing per bullet. I'm going to tell you everything that bullet will do for you, along with the silver, the Bernil hardness, and the load data guide. And right then, I want all my guys to start scanning the internet and seeing if they can beat what Oregon Trail's got. Do you guys want to do that? That would be so interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say some guy says, well, old Bert's bullets, he actually has this bullet that's cheaper. I'll pull it up online and I'll share the link and everyone can go find that. But I will share what I'm putting out for Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail doesn't give me free stuff. They don't pay me for this. I don't want no one to think I'm trying to load my pockets with Oregon Trail. I'm just saying, if you want to talk about the best bang for the buck, I share what I'm looking at from Oregon Trail. I put it out there, and the viewers try to beat it, and I bet they won't. I couldn't. Michael says that sounds really interesting. That's kind of push your money where your mouth is, and because I've been telling guys, I've been loading Oregon Trail for like 30 years. As long as I've been running Starline for 30 years, I have never ever been disappointed in their bullets and the accuracy and the consistency of the accuracy. It's just always, the performance is always there. Game on. I will put it on Facebook, and I'll get the live stream set up, and you'll see it scheduled on my Highboy Nation webpage. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea because I know of a lot of fellas, especially one in particular, that will jump at the bit to be able to. He's just a deal finder, and he's one of your subscribers. He's a good buddy of mine. And I tell you, if you need something in particular, you let him know. Within 3 days, he will have you a price that is, if not hundreds of dollars cheaper, almost $100 cheaper. I mean, I don't know how he does it. He just has one of those kind of fellas that can just he's got kids, so and he's into guns, so he has to make his dollars last, very stretch. And basically he's found some of the best deals I've seen on stuff just in general, gunsmithing and firearms related. So this is probably going to be a pretty good show up for everybody because
okay, total game on. I'm gonna Greg and me, we're gonna have a live stream Tuesday night. It'll be 6 o'clock Mountain Time. I mean Thursday night, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So let's do this one Tuesday night. I'm gonna go in the next couple hours. I'll have that on the website and I'll have it set up on YouTube so the notifications will go out. Why don't I make the title? I'm gonna put Oregon Trail Bullet Company. I'm gonna put the BHN number. I'm going to put the pro points behind them, comma, who can beat it. So when people come, they know it's a showdown, and let's just see what we can all come up with. I think it'd be awesome. Sergeant Sam,
now I've got a question. Does Oregon sells to Brownells and places like that, correct? They got distributors? Or are they direct?
They're in Cabela's and Sportsman's, but I haven't seen them on Brownells. I don't know if they're on Midway, but they offer free shipping. If you order, like Starline, if you order through Starline's website, free shipping. And Oregon Trail, you just order. That's another thing. They're cheaper, and they don't offer any shipping. Another thing, this really ticked me off. Over the last 3 years, I've ordered from different companies, and every time the box is busted open and there's like bullets. Not Oregon Trail. When you get those, they double box them with the heaviest boxes. I haven't had any Oregon Trail broken. I'm not saying they won't. Someone might get one, but I'm just saying they do the best job of packaging. You know what? They're not far from me. I had to go there and just do a video. Which I think that would be kind of neat. Just go there and I talked to them on the phone. We went to their town because we wanted to stay there, and I got a picture in front of them. It's just a small mom and pop place, but man, you'd think it was some kind of big manufacturing facility. There's got to be silver in there.
Yeah, maybe we could even call over to Oregon Trail and see if they could get maybe a rep or something that would like to get on and tell us more about how they got started and stuff.
Oh, I kind of know that they don't really have a rep.
Oh, okay.
They don't really have a rep. Let me talk to him, see if he would do a live stream. I think that would be really cool. I've talked to him. He has so much knowledge. Let me see if I can put together something, okay?
Yeah, maybe we can get him on there and answer some of the questions maybe some of the viewers have. And I've got some questions too, because I've seen bullets smelted before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of curious on, some of how they go about doing it and what they use for flux and stuff. I've used sawdust in the past. But I would love to see and hear from something like that and see if we can find how cheap we can actually locate bullets.
Okay, at any other time, I could think of the guy's name. But when I tell you this guy's name, you guys are going to go, oh, that guy. But I can't think of his name. He helped. There were some guys. Okay, hang on. There were some cowboy shooters back in the day. They all came together designing this bullet. And that's why they call it laser cast. They said they came together like a bunch of people focused on one thing. It was like one big laser cast coming from their minds, right? And so they developed these bullets And what they developed these bullets for was for no leading after a lot of rounds. Cowboys got tired of that. That's why all their bullets are a Bernil hardness of 31. Give me just a sec. Let me see if I see the guy's name in here. This guy's a cowboy action shooter. He's older now, has his own website. I want to say his name's Wild Bill. Wild Bill. Wild Bill. Is it Wild Bill? I want to say think of his name. He's a famous cowboy action shooter. And he even kind of has his own school now. I always wanted to shake his hand. He's one of those guys you like to meet. He's really good.
You say he's a cowboy action shooter?
Yeah, SASS. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna. Okay, I have Brian's. Hang on. I have Brian in my phone. I have everyone in my phone. Okay, let's see what he says. He lives in a very remote area. Okay, so Slimfire's asking me, Cowboy, do you like shooting hard cast 200 grain over the jacket at 230? I gotta tell you this. That's a great conversation. And if yeah, okay, that's a great conversation. So here's the 230. Here's my last box at 200 grain. So I was always a 230 guy, and then a few years back, talking to Oregon Trail, he told me about the 200 grain. So I was shooting a 200 grain, and I ordered some 200 grain, and I like them. I just think they're a great trigger time. The other night I priced a 230. I want to say they were 14.5 cents a bullet. These are 12.5 cents a bullet, 500 per box. And so I think that it's a little less recoil and a little cheaper for the buck. Just good. Yeah. What I like about the 230 grain, a hard cast bullet, is this is like one of the only calibers you can use a round nose for self-defense. How the Westwood one, a true 45 caliber bullet. It, you know, 38 caliber round nose, you don't want to use that for self-defense unless you absolutely had to, because when it goes in, the wound, it's a round nose, so the wound closes up behind it and the blood clots. Doesn't mean the person's not going to die, but they could go off and take days to die. Well, if you shot someone with that and they had a gun, they could conceivably unload on you. But with a 45 caliber round nose, you hit someone with this, they're going to go, because they're going to lose blood pressure really fast. And so that's why I've always favored the 230. I always just like to have everything loaded up with the 30 grain round nose. I've always had that mentality. But now just for trigger time, I was talking to Brian at Oregon Trail. He said that's his number one seller for the 45 auto. So I think that's a very good question. And I really like it. And I really like it with that power pistol. But now, right here, silhouette. What I want to do for Christmas is I want more of these, and I want to get a big jug of this. And then I'll be like shooting happy after the first of the year. That silhouette is what I will be running. Well, and that's it. Sergeant Sandman says the 45 ACP was designed to shoot round nose. But so far, all of my, even my old M1911A1 runs this. This is just fine. Nice semi-wad cutter, 200 grain. It's a nice bullet. I really like it. So I think you ought to try it. We got Andre D'Angelo. Yeah, I like them. I think they're both. I like the big 230 grain. I really do. I like that bullet. Do you shoot better? I don't think so. I don't know. They both shoot nice. I think maybe the 200 grains just a slightly less recoil, but I haven't really compared them side by side. It's hard when you shoot a 44 Magnum one time, 357 the next, and then 45 the next. You know, it's you just have to.
My first pistol was a 1911. I got it back in 1984. My dad gave it to me. It was a Colt Combat Commander in stainless steel. And unfortunately, it got stolen out of my truck. But I had a lot of money into it, and I had throated it, and we had gone through the whole gun because I was using an Ipsen gun. And I always compared the 45 compared to a 9mm. Now, this isn't like lethality or any of that kind of nonsense. This is just recoil. And a lot of people were like, well, the 45 kicks more. And I beg to differ. I believe it's a gentle push. It's a push where you're going to feel it, but it's more of a gentle push versus a violent recoil like the 9mm does. It seems to me that when I'm shooting a 1911 or a 45 auto of any type, or even a wheel gun in 45 Colt, it's more controllable for me. I don't know if it's just because that's what I learned to shoot on, a handgun, but it's always been what I like to call a pussycat of recoil. And I've shot a couple of guys, 20 Model 29 and 629 Smith & Wessons that, I mean, it will hurt your hand after about 20 rounds.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. When you're talking recoil from two different calibers, you almost have to compare apples to apples, and here's why. Would you believe that this can kick harder if these were the same caliber than this? Let's say they're both 44 Magnum. Both of these 44 Magnum. This one, shorter barrel, you would think would kick more.
I I don't know about that because it's keeping the pressure in the barrel longer and you're going to get more velocity. So you're getting more energy built in the actual barrel. So my guess would be that a lot of the unburnt powder is going to spill out the end of that barrel when you're firing it, unless you're using some really fast burning powder, where the longer barrel is going to keep the pressure in it longer, and maybe considerable more recoil force would be generated. Now, it's just a guess. I'm not a physics major or anything like that.
Okay. This is how I understand it. You can only really figure recoil out for the common man by putting it in your hand and shooting it. Okay. What is dwell time?
Dwell time?
Dwell
Oh,
time.
I'm sorry. Asking me.
That's okay. Dwell time is the amount of time that the revolver or the pistol or the rifle is under a load. So if you have two revolvers, the same caliber, you're shooting the same round, but one's a shorter barrel. From here to here, this one is going to have the bullet in the barrel longer. This one, the bullet's going to come out sooner. And what happens when the bullet hits atmospheric pressure? Or when it hits, what happens when the bullet comes out the end of the bore? We return back to atmospheric pressure. So this revolver right here, we go bang. Once the bullet comes out, gun begins slowing because we went to atmospheric pressure. This one, whoa, the bullets in the barrel a little longer, going to come up a little higher. That's why on a little 3-inch revolver, when you're 5 feet from a target, you better drop that down about 3 inches. That's another thing. That's another thing. Y'all better think about this. I can tell you by experience. You have in the middle of the night, and someone's got your wife, and they're getting ready to stab her to death, and you got to take that shot. Long distance in your house is the length of a hallway. Short distance is across your dining room table. Whether you're shooting long range or short range in your house, you pull up and you hold where you normally hold for 25 yards, you're going to have to come up just a little bit. That's how it is with a rabbit. I'm after a rabbit, and I see a rabbit after 25 yards. All of a sudden, I spot his buddy down here. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You got to drop it. Now you guys got me confused because I'm thinking dwell time. I'm going to go put it on paper. I'm going to put it on paper. Okay, I got to think about this. You're going to have to hold high, slightly high. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I believe so.
I
mean, it makes sense to me. I mean,
yeah,
because I know when you shoot machine guns, that when you're talking the longer the barrel of the machine gun, even the same cartridge caliber, the recoil is more intense because it's keeping that pressure behind that bullet inside that barrel longer, which is causing a more violent recoil pulse.
Yeah. You know what I'm gonna do when I take my ransom rest out? I'll do that. I'll do that same test off my ransom rest, and I'll report back to you. Last time I went out rabbit hunting was like before my channel. It's been maybe 8 years. I think I'm really due. That's so sucky. Time spent in the same position. I don't know what that means by Slimfire. Okay, so we're going to put together a really good live stream. Oregon Trail has responded. He lives very remotely out, so I don't know that he really gets those texts. But I think that would be really awesome, and I think that'd be good information. So let me put that together, and we'll go for Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Does that sound good? 6 o'clock Mountain Time.
Yeah, that's going to be. Let's see. Your Mountain Standard.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that'll be fine for me.
Okay, that'll work. All right, so we have 22 on, and any questions before we end it? We're ready to end this bad boy. I think we've been going 2 hours and 20 minutes. So any last questions, then we're going to bring it to an end. Hey, Slimfire. Well, oh, you guys won't believe this. My wife, she just made 2 apple pies with fresh, local grown Honeycrisp apples. And I went to the store to get the caramel to drizzle on them before we put the crust over the top and cook them. I'm going to go have that. I'm going to have that with my mother-in-law.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. We got 22 on. I want everybody to type the word out, and I'll call you out. And she ate yum. Well, come on over, man. We'll feed you. We made 2 pies. We already ate 1 today, but we had guests over. Okay, we have Jay out, Sergeant Sandman out. There's 3 out. Someone's at the front door. Floyd Hicks is out.
Everyone have a really blessed weekend.
Heck yeah.
And try to get in some shooting. If not, have some fun.
Kenneth Hayes is out. Michael Storm is out. It does suck. We're out. 2.5 hours long. I mean, after a while, like, all right, we got to wind this thing down. What's the longest live stream you've ever seen? Anyone's seen? We could do a live stream marathon. No, I'm teasing.
I did a 9-hour and Google. What is it? They only let you do 8.
Yeah. In
a row with YouTube, and then you had to log back on and did about another hour and a half.
What'd you talk about?
We were building my reloading bench.
Oh, that's different. That's cool.
And yeah, it was nonstop. And at the end of it, after welding and grinding and painting and everything, I was done. I was like, stick a fork in me.
Yeah, I guess. That's awesome. I think that's great. That was a good live stream. Okay, Slimfire's out. We got Floyd Hicks, 7 hours, 59 minutes. Okay, so I think everyone else is probably cooking dinner or working on a gun or something. So we're going to sign out. Okay, guys. So look forward to Tuesday night. We'll get the live stream information up. And we're out in 3, 2, 1.